Hi, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Josh and Julie Make a Podcast. First episode, we talked about how we met. The second episode, we talked about the hardest year of our lives, and yet, I guess it was the most just roller coaster year of our lives.
Yeah, up and down.
And so, for the third episode, before we get into Julie just telling you all the things I do wrong and complaining about me all the time, you have to make it through one more episode, and that is telling you how we got here. So now, if you are like, why is Josh doing this podcast now? Well, it's because apparently we have learned that it is impossible for us to have a child and have nothing else in our lives be happening.
Right.
Something
big always has to happen when we have a baby.
That's right. So for starters, I want to say big age gap, right, between our two kids.
Almost 8 years.
And is that because this guy was a happy accident, as they like to say? No, that's not the case. We had been on and off trying. And remember when we said in the last episode how your doctor said, well, it can take a year.
Right.
And we were like, oh, you suck. It didn't take you anywhere near that long. Well, karma came back around, and it was way more difficult.
Took us a lot longer this time
to get pregnant.
Well, and we waited strategically because we had been through a lot of trauma with 2016, as we talked about in the last episode, and we had to like take a breath from that. We could not handle anything more at that time in our lives.
Plus,
for
we
years.
had a baby.
Right.
So it's not like we could just pause everything and be like, okay, that was a lot, but let's just like.
No, you have to.
Jordy was like, feed me,
you
keep
still
me alive.
Need to care for me.
Yeah.
It's one of those kids.
But I think the main reason why it took so long was that we had all of this doubt of if we wanted a second child, because
there was
Jordy was the perfect baby.
Great baby, great kid. My favorite story about that is, I think it was his, no, not his first, but maybe second birthday. So he's a 2-year-old. He's a toddler. They're, known for being dangerous. You have to purposefully try to make sure they don't kill themselves.
Yeah.
And that's a full-time job. Well, I remember your dad was here and he, somebody had left the basement door open. And he freaked out. Your dad was like, you guys have to make sure this gets closed because he could fall down those stairs. And I was like, Dave, go tell Jordy to go down those stairs. He will not go downstairs without holding a hand, preferably being in someone's arms. He was the most cautious, careful kid I've ever known and probably ever will know. Very unusual, was not a dangerous kid. He was so kind and cautious and never did anything dangerous. He would always ask before, grabbing snacks or doing anything. Other kids will just
and it was really cautious. It wasn't that he was scared. Like he wouldn't just like hang on to us. He just was very
careful,
articulate. Like he just was very like, okay. Like I remember when we were at the playground on the Summerfest grounds, and there are kids running everywhere.
Yeah.
And I literally saw a kid not watch when they were like standing up and they like donked their head.
Oh.
And meanwhile, there's Jordy, even younger than some of these kids. And he's like, okay, all right. And I'm good.
Yeah.
And like, that's just the way he was. And as parents,
we were like,
we hit the jackpot, baby. Let's go.
Makes it a lot easier that way.
And we were comfortable.
Right.
We were very comfortable with
happy
our lives, and we were liking where things were.
Yeah.
We had taken at this point, we hadn't fully gone into down the Disney rabbit hole, but we had done a few trips, and we were enjoying that, and we were able to do those things financially, and things were good.
3 plane tickets is cheaper than 4. So we were thinking, all right, I can do this.
Right. And then you have everyone that says, well, the second kid is always, if your first one was great, your second one's going to be a nightmare.
Right. Everybody said your second one is the crazy kid.
And so we were like,
I like my cautious, careful, gentle, kind kid. I don't really want a crazy one.
Yeah, I don't know.
Don't listen to.
I don't know that we need this. Maybe we're good. And so it wasn't until Jordy was, I want to say he was 4. That
Yeah.
I mean, and before I even get there, like we went back and forth so much. I literally made a pros and con list,
Mm-hmm.
and
Remember,
I gotta say, the
a lot more
cons
cons.
was like 20
So
to
long.
2 of
The pros were like Jordy will have a sibling.
right.
What
That
else?
was it.
That was pretty much it.
And even when
Financially,
we made this
not
list,
a good idea.
it was like we sat there and we looked at this list of like 20 cons and this one pro, and
we were still
like,
oh, can't decide.
God." And so we didn't, and we spent a few years in this. Well, I don't know, and everyone was asking us, "When are you gonna have another one? When are you gonna have another one? When are you gonna have another one?" When are you gonna...
Don't do that, by the way.
Oh God, you
Just
have
let
no
people
idea
be.
what people are going
Even if they
through.
don't have kids, I'm
Right.
very much the camp of if somebody doesn't want to have kids, do not do it. If
Yeah.
you're not sure that you want children, it is not something you should just take on because you feel like it that day. It is the hardest thing you'll ever do in your life.
And also, I feel like the people that are
So,
pushing
yeah.
are usually people that aren't currently dealing with a young child.
Right.
Like when I find out, like
You
since
forget
we've had
so
Jack,
quickly.
when I've heard that, like, hey, we're pregnant, my answer is, hey, attaboy. Like that's the most excitement.
Yeah.
Before we had kids, I was like, you're having a kid. I'm so excited for you. Once you're sleep deprived and your whole life has changed,
You're
and
like,
you've
good
gained
luck
weight
with that,
and everything
bro.
else, it's like, all right, best of luck to you. All right,
Hope you survive it.
talk to you later. You know,
No,
so it's
being
always
a parent is wonderful. It's so rewarding.
It's
They're
great.
adorable.
Things are
We're also in the
wonderful.
sleep deprivation time.
What?
He's in his 4-month sleep regression, so that's been really rough.
Yeah,
very
yeah.
recently. So we may be even more bitter than usual.
But which yes, true. But so the thing that I think for me really put it over the edge, because I think you were even kind of like okay being
Well,
a family
to
of
be
3.
honest, especially once we started going to Disney, I was like, man, this is fun. And
Yeah.
kids cost money.
Yeah.
And so money away
Disney
from
also costs
Disney
money.
is not Disney. So
Right.
I was kinda like...
Did everyone follow that math? Okay. So
Yeah,
make sure.
girl math.
But it was when Jordy started 4K. So he went to school, right? And he's out of daycare. And it was at this point when he started having interactions with other kids. Not that he didn't at daycare, but it just wasn't the same.
Right.
And because before this, we had said to Jordy, like, do you want a sibling? And he was like,
It's like,
no.
no. He's a smart kid. He's
Oh.
like, I'm king of this castle. I get everything I
whatever I want.
want. I eat when I want. I rule this place. And so I think he knew.
Why would I want to mess this up?
Right.
What are you guys trying to ruin my life here? And he's 4 years old and he already has it all figured out.
Yeah.
And
smart
so,
kid.
but then when he went to school, I think then he started realizing that all the other
Most
kids in his
people
class
have
had
siblings. Yeah.
And that's when it changed for him. And that one pro was Jordy have a sibling. So as soon as Jordy was like, well, I kind of
want a
wish I
sibling.
had a sibling, I think we were like, well, crap.
Yeah.
Now we got to have another one.
Right.
And then we tried. And
we kind of went back and forth.
tried,
We
we
were
couldn't,
like,
we
yeah, let's
tried.
have a baby. And then we're like, oh, maybe not a good time. You know,
we were trying.
On and off.
Yeah, but it wasn't like
Not-
extremes.
No. Well, we weren't trying consistently for years or anything, but we'd go a while
No,
trying, then
yeah.
we'd stop, and then we'd try again.
Something would come up. You'd be like, well, I'm standing up in this wedding, so I don't want to try.
And there was always like a vacation, like, oh, we're going to Mexico. I don't want to be pregnant for that.
Yeah, right.
There's always a
There's
reason
always
not
something.
to.
Which also, if you're trying to get, like, you cannot play by those rules either.
Right.
Because there will always be something.
Right.
And then we ended up when I felt like we were getting to the point in which we were ready to just give up.
Yeah.
We
We were like, I guess
did
it's not going to
eventually-
happen.
We did for at least a year try.
Yeah. Like pretty consistently.
At least a year.
Yeah.
And it wasn't happening.
Right.
And then you went and got tested. And I remember you came home and you were like, well, it isn't me. Which I was like, perfect.
If
But-
you know us, everything is Josh's
Yeah, of
fault.
course,
So I
everything's
wasn't,
my fault.
I wasn't
Like I said, in episodes
surprised.
4 and on, you'll hear all about how everything's my fault.
Everything's Josh's fault.
But-
I can't wait. I'm so excited.
Oh yeah,
Can we
yeah.
skip ahead?
It's gonna be great. Gonna be a lot more drinks being poured. So, but you said that, and you were like, "So now you need to go get tested." And my attitude,
And then
towards it
you
was,
freaked out.
I was like, "Well, go figure." But I was like, "Why do I need to get tested? If it's not you, clearly it's me."
Not necessarily.
Well, that's how my dumb brain
Oh,
worked.
yeah, dumb.
And so I was like, "This is dumb." And so I put off getting tested.
I was like, don't you want to know? Because for me, I'd want to know. It's not just
I didn't want
about.
to know. I didn't
What?
want confirmation that it was me. I figured it was me. I didn't need confirmation.
But what if it's a bigger issue? What if it was a bigger health issue that you could have dealt with?
Yeah,
There's
that's
all
a
these
smart
what if.
brain talking.
one
So
of the
I
big
put it off.
differences.
And then I remember you were like, so what? Like you just
I think
don't-
I said if you
yeah,
do this, that means we're definitely never having a baby.
Yeah.
And it's your decision.
right. You just
and
laid it
if
on.
This
thick
is
on
what
me.
you want. Fine.
And I said, fine, I'll schedule the test. And then I put it off another 2 days. and then you came to me one day and
Mr.
said,
Procrastinator.
well, I guess you don't need to get tested. And you showed me the
Yeah.
positive.
I
pregnancy
had
test.
all of these ideas too, because the first time I was just in so much shock that I
Yeah.
had to tell you immediately because I needed to tell somebody immediately. This time I was like, oh, I'm going to tell him in a cute way. I'm going to surprise him or whatever. But I was again, so shocked, kind of in disbelief and like irritated with your lack of making an appointment that I
Yep.
was just like, well, I guess you don't have to.
Yeah, you were mad.
I was mad.
You were mad that we got the answer without me having to get tested.
That you procrastinated and then ended
We're
up
saying
not
the
having
same
to
thing.
do the thing
We're saying the
that
same
you
thing.
procrastinated.
I won.
That is no
So
bad.
then we find out that you're pregnant, and it was a way different situation than
Right.
7 years ago,
Yeah.
which also leads to the biggest loss of a fight I have had
yes.
or will ever have. So
I'm
this is a little
frugal
preview.
too.
This is a little preview of what's to come. in
Let's
future
talk
episodes.
too about the fact that I don't like stuff at all. If it was up to me, there would be nothing. I mean, Christmas is kind of a different story, so I like Christmas decorations, but generally, I don't like stuff. I don't like lots of decorations. I like clean, empty. Most people who know me know I'm kind of a minimalist. I like little things. What about you, Josh?
I'm a maximumist.
He's a collector. He's got shirts. He's got hats. He's got signs. He got everything in the world. So we are polar opposites in that front. But I said, maybe we should keep some of these clothes because we had hand-me-down clothes from my nephews. We had hand-me-down clothes from other people. We had all these baby clothes from like birth to, what is he now? 8 years old. So his whole life, we had all these
Talk
clothes.
about Jordy.
And I thought we need to keep these just in case. What if we have another kid? Clothes are expensive. I'm thinking this is
Which,
going to save
by
us
the way-
money,
By the way,
time, effort.
it was not just the clothes; it was all the toys.
Yeah, well,
It was
that too.
anything associated with babies.
Those bouncers,
And
those play yards, they're
I
expensive.
was
things.
on board a year after Jordy was born. But then it kept going. Now it's 2 years. At this point, we're really not sure. 3 years. Okay, now this is taking up space. 4 years. Now there's more totes, right? Because there's more totes because Jordy keeps getting older. And so now more totes of clothes. Now
Every
4-year-old,
size.
5-year-old clothes. And I'm running out of room and my anxiety is going nuts. And I'm going, why are we keeping this stuff? It's been 5 years.
Meanwhile, I said, well, we have hundreds of hats and shirts
Yeah, so
and
it was get
piles of
rid of-
stuff,
Get rid
but
of
we have to
the
get rid
stuff
of the
you
baby
like.
stuff. I don't like the baby stuff. We
no.
had this. It wasn't like I like the baby stuff. I love this baby stuff so much I can't part with it. It's you have so much stuff. You can't get rid of anything, but we have to get rid of this baby stuff that if we do have a baby, will
If.
save us money.
And if not, it was 10, 12, 15, 22 years of driving you nuts, having to hold on to every piece of clothing, underwear, everything that Jordy ever
We
wore.
wouldn't have. We wouldn't
Jordy's
have held on to it
18-year-old
for
boxers.
We wouldn't have held on to it for 18 years.
But I had it all. Oh, Jordy, what you want to show your friends the clothes you wore in high school? We got them all packed down
held on
here.
to it that long. You're being ridiculous.
And so this was the fight that we had. It was the longest fight. It was
we
a
had it often.
fight. And then she shows me the pregnancy test. And while I was happy,
your first thought?
While I was happy, literally, I'm not even kidding, within 5 minutes of seeing the pregnancy test, and like the second that the first natural reaction excitement happened was me going, oh crap. Because
I win.
You were right. She was right. Because now
I'm always right.
We held on to all of these clothes, all of these toys, all of these things. And
for a good reason.
They were going to get used
Mr.
again.
Jack.
Except for the car seats. We held on to every single car
Those
seat.
expire after
And
8
car
years.
seats expire.
Yeah,
They
it's kind of weird.
expire. If anyone watching this, excuse me, is I don't know, a scientist, a police officer, someone who can give me a legit reason of why a molded plastic seat can no longer hold a child. It's not like, I get it if you were using it every day for 7 years, but no offense, if you were using it every day for 7 years, you probably know it's time for
right. And if it's in a car crash, you're not supposed to use it. Obviously, that makes sense.
Right.
Even if it's not damaged, you don't want to do that.
I used an infant car seat for 1 year, and then it went into storage for 6 years, and then I had to throw it out. Well, I didn't throw it out. It was an exchange program through Target. You get 25% off. But
great deal.
Yeah. Target. Shout out to Target. Not a sponsor, but Target. We're looking at you, looking for a sponsor here on the podcast. You know, hit me up.
Hashtag
notdoneyetmedia.com.
Do you even own that URL?
Yeah. Oh, it's a website and everything. Not Done Yet Media.
I should probably know.
Some supportive wife doesn't even know the name of my venture.
Sorry.
So, but we had to go buy new car seats because it took just long enough to where now, and I don't even know. We could have used them.
I'm sure we
could
have.
Who the heck would have checked?
I don't know. I like to be safe.
So, anyway, then
I won. That's
Julie won.
The end result.
We know that Jack is coming.
I'm the winner.
And then we found out that it was going to be a boy.
Which we're like, all right.
Honestly, yeah, right? Because the dream,
we kind of wanted a girl.
Is you have a boy and a girl. You have that. You have the family. And honestly, I told Julie that if the technology existed to guarantee that it was you're going to get a girl, we probably wouldn't have waited so long.
Right.
If I could have known boy, girl, I would have been like, screw Jordy being perfect. Give me a girl. We're done. But we didn't. And so we waited. And then
I think you ended up being more disappointed than me.
I was super bummed
because I was like, okay, I know how to take care of a baby boy. I get it. I think I'm a little bit more comfortable with boys than girls sometimes.
Yeah, I mean,
I've heard horror stories about like teenage girls and stuff. So I was like,
sure,
I can handle this.
Well, I've been a teenage boy, so I know that. I think for me the big thing is that once you have the boy and the ideas in your head of I'm going to get to play catch with my son and you're going to get to do all these things.
Right.
Then your brain goes to, well, what about the daddy-daughter dances and the, walking her down the aisle and all that stuff. And so you want to be able to have both. And it didn't happen that way. And that's the way the cookie crumbles.
Right.
Obviously, Jack is here now.
We love this
love this cutie pie.
He's so cute.
Right. And no,
say hi, Jack, Jack.
And,
you're a cutie.
And he's gonna be the linebacker that's gonna pay for our retirement. Yes, you are. But right, so we knew that Jack was coming, but we didn't know a name. And the thing is that when we named Jordy, it wasn't immediate, but like it came to me, and I told you Jordy.
And it's like, I love it.
She fell in love with it.
That's the name.
I was like, let's go. And so we knew this was not the case with Jack.
We did not know what to name him. We had to do the J thing because we're Josh, Julie, Jordy.
Right.
And then we had to have a J name, but
And
the
some people are
only
like, you don't have to have a J name. Yeah, you're right. Josh, Julie, Jordy, and
Probably do.
Steve. Come on.
Poor Steve.
Yeah, Steve is ending up in therapy.
We didn't want Steve in therapy.
I mean, he might anyway, but not for the name reason.
right.
So, life will be
the
hard
trauma
enough.
we give you, not because of
Right.
your name.
And so it ended up to where the name that I wanted was Jerry. It was my mom's name. It was my
Jerry.
grandpa's name. I thought Jerry Seinfeld. I thought, Jerry.
I really didn't like Jerry.
But Julie really didn't like Jerry. And
Sorry.
Jerry is it's not a very popular name. Jerry's kind of a make fun of name. And Julie wanted Jace.
I like Jace a
And
lot.
I didn't really like Jace either. And so
Why didn't you like Jace?
I don't know. I didn't
See, that was what bothered me too. You
that I
often can't describe. For a guy who uses lots of words all
Yeah.
the time, you have a hard time describing things. So it's like when you're sick, you're like, oh, I don't feel good. Well,
potential employers, please
What's
ignore
wrong?
this part. But so we were going back and forth. We were trying to decide on a name. And I said, all right, well, if we can't have Jerry as a middle ground, how about Jack? And Julie did not like Jack.
No.
But
Don't listen to
she
him,
liked Jack more than Jerry. And so it was kind of the default.
Sorry, Jack.
And we went with Jack, and I'm happy
Now
we have
he might
Jack.
go to therapy anyways.
Yeah, true. But
Oh.
I don't know. Looking at him, he's a Jack. The way that he acts is a Jack. He's a
cute
cutie
little
pie.
baby.
And we're very happy he's here. So this is kind of the first time I've talked about this, but 4 days before
2 days after my due date.
2 days after your due date, 4 or 5 days before
he was 8 days after. So
his actual
2
birth,
6 days.
I was let go from the radio station
Dun dun dun.
that I had been at since, if you watched the last episode, Drew Olson helped me get in, and now I was let go. And I've had a ton of people who have reached out, and I mean the support has been incredible. And I had a lot of people that said, "Why do you think you were let go? Do you think it was this person's fault? Do you think this person?" And the simple answer is, I don't know.
They say money.
And,
it's always about money.
Right. What they told me is that I was one of many across the country
kind of laid off
that were laid off because it's radio and it's a big company, and they have to make cuts.
Yeah.
And it was just, I was cut. Believe what you want. I don't know. I honestly, that could be the truth. It could not. I don't know. But I found that the more that I tried to figure it out, the more it just led to me being more frustrated. But it was kind of like flashbacks to 2016, because it was like, we can't just have a kid and have life be normal.
Yeah, we're all excited. We're about to have a baby, and then that happens.
Yep.
And I, again, was in shock and couldn't believe it. And then, I mean, I'm still a little angry. It's frustrating. Like, it's not a good look to do something like that to an employee when you're about to have a baby.
Right.
Regardless of the circumstances.
Full disclosure, iHeart, before they let me go, they did grant my paternity leave.
Right. That
So
was very nice.
I did, I didn't get to say goodbye to listeners. I didn't get to have a last day on air. That was your last show. And then I was, grab your stuff and go. And it was without cause. It's not like I did anything wrong. But then they did say, like, we know that you were days away from having a baby. So, we did get your paternity leave granted.
That was very nice.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that kind of brings us to where we are.
Why you've got time for a podcast.
which is why Not Done Yet Media came to exist, and I've been
sponsored by Target.
Hopefully
kidding.
by Target.
Target.
We're looking at you.
Hopefully they don't
Not
sue
Done
us.
Yet Media.com.
Oh, is he drooling
I don't
at me?
know why they would sue us. We're saying
Promoting
their name
them.
for free.
Yeah, you're right.
Just
Okay.
pay us for it. Give us diapers or something.
Oh, diapers would be good.
Yeah, we need diapers.
He uses a lot of that.
Yeah, although we just got out of ones and into twos, and we had a box of ones. I hate not going
We
through what we had.
donated them. It's okay.
Yeah, someone will use them, but it's not us. You try to time it. You want to time it. We ended up having too many. I don't know. Anyway,
we donated them to a
yes,
good cause.
yes, someone will use them. I'm not mad at that. I'm just saying, like, you want to hit the number. It's like, hitting the big wheel. You want to hit $1 on Price is Right. Anyway,
Whatever you
so
say.
as things sit now, way different situation than it was with Jordy, right? Because Jordy, I was completely,
not really
off the
mentally
radar,
there,
mentally or
since your
physically.
mom
I
was
still had to
just-
work.
Right.
I mean, in that
You
situation,
got 2 weeks at the bank.
well, I
for-
had 2 weeks and
paternity
3
leave?
days because
Oh.
my paternity leave led into my bereavement leave. Talk about a
Two
crazy
kinds of
situation.
leave.
So, and this time now I'm just home with the little guy, and I'm
Stay at home, Daddy Joshy.
playing a little bit of Mr. Mom. Come here. Come by me. Come on me. What about if I hold you? But so we've been getting through it, and we've been.
Oh, I'm so hot.
I
with
know,
him.
I know, and we've been. I've been looking for what's going to be my next job. I do have to say it is very difficult to look for a job and
So if you're hiring,
apply for jobs.
Josh Albrecht is open for business.
Yeah, I mean that was one of the things. I was so appreciative of everyone who reached out and said, "I can't believe that happened." Like, you're
You'll
definitely
land on your feet.
in no time, and they'll regret letting you go. But none of those people were like, "Hey,
I have a job."
I'm looking for somebody." And
I mean, you can't expect that, but
Right.
still,
It would've
it
been nice.
is difficult to be. I think, and I've told people this, like, I think that when people see you were in radio, even though those skills definitely translate to other industries, I feel like people don't necessarily think that. They think, oh, you were in radio, you don't want to work here.
Right.
Which is not the case, but it's difficult you have to explain that, and you can't necessarily explain that super well just by simply seeing a resume.
Especially, I've learned, like, I mean, you're a boss, legitimately, and so you've seen more resumes than I have even
I just
had to look at my
finished
own.
hiring somebody.
In 10 years. I hadn't had to apply for a job. I mean, I literally
You're a
since-
relationship guy. You
Right.
make relationships with people and have gotten job offers through that. You've never done like the proper corporate
and then I went
apply
from
and
bank to
interview.
radio.
Right.
And so I didn't even have an interview really
Right.
there. I was kind of just working both jobs and then left the bank to go radio full time.
Right.
And so this was my first time kind of in that world. And I was like, oh my gosh, has this changed? It was like, well, my resume, being scanned by AI for is this guy a good fit? No, it's definitely not, because I'm in radio. Although
Right.
they have no idea that in that job I sold myself. I brought in my own endorsements. I managed my own
You
clients.
do video.
I did video. I did social media. I can communicate with the best. All of these things.
Yeah.
I had no idea how much had changed in the world of trying to get a job.
Right. And you
Since
don't have
2012.
experience in that traditional workforce necessarily. I mean, you worked at the bank, but again, you just kind of like got that job. So you don't really have experience with the hiring process.
Right. So
it's a whole new world.
It's been an adventure. And, we've been
Yes.
looking at that as we take care of a little guy. But it's been really nice to, honestly, I feel like I'm making up for some of the stuff I missed with Jordy. Not that I didn't change the diapers before, but
you weren't mentally there.
right. I was
as
just going through
you
the motions. Right.
you
I was
are
just going through
hopefully
the
a little
motions.
bit more now. Although, I think you've had a hard time not working too.
True.
That's a difficult situation to be in when you're used to getting up and doing this job every day to all of a sudden not have that. It's kind of devastating.
Which is why you want to take him back.
Sure, that was quick.
Yeah. Oh gosh, that was my time.
Meanwhile, I'm holding him this whole time.
Well, it's because he likes you more, regardless of how hard I try.
That's called weaponized incompetence. Maybe we'll talk about that on the next
Good
episode.
Lord. I might
How
be sick for the
men
next podcast.
Weaponize their incompetence towards women.
So one of the things that Julie was super supportive of and loved that I was going to do,
Is this sarcasm?
yes,
Okay.
was I started a podcast with my friend John called Don't Tell Me How to Fan. It's a sports podcast. And then I started doing one called Dapper D-Gens with some of my friends from my Roosevelt Shirt Nerd group. And then Julie was like, well, why don't we do a podcast,
Right.
which is what you're watching right now.
I figured this would be one way to actually get to talk to him because I didn't know what's going on in his life.
Right. And so now I started this this little side business called Not Done Yet Media, because as I say at the end of every episode, we're not done yet. And you know, it's not that this is the biggest business venture, but it's a way to keep me out there and kind of scratch that itch
Keep you talking.
and keep me talking. And
You haven't forgotten how yet.
no, I haven't. And in
Maybe
the
someday I'll cross my fingers.
and in the process, you know, we're getting to do this together, which has been fun.
Yeah. So you say.
Yeah, I mean, I say has been fun because
It won't be.
yeah,
Coming soon
this is the
to
end,
a podcast near
yeah,
you.
this is the end of the fun.
Me yelling at Josh.
So
Just for an
it took
hour.
3 episodes for you to get to the main. Yeah, give her a nice right.
Oh,
big
that
right
was a little
and a
bit of
big left.
instant karma, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
I loved it.
Jack, you're
Yeah,
supposed to
see,
be on my
You know,
side.
he's on my side. That's my boy. You're
Aw.
my boy. The kiddo. So I don't even know how long this one was. I don't know how long we went.
Probably too long.
I don't know. Good enough. But we'll have some more fun going forward. We're gonna figure out all the
He's gonna
things,
knock my drink out.
all the things I do wrong. And
can't wait.
yeah, it's gonna
Oops.
be really great. We're gonna
Spill
talk
on you,
about
did I?
that's fine. Spilling your drink on your child. That's approved, right?
It's a second kid thing.
Yeah,
you don't do that
absolutely.
with the first.
It's okay. You're drinking lemonade anyway. And
lemonade.
that's right, lemonade. And we'll have some fun. And who knows what the future holds. We take it day by day.
And if there are things that you guys want me to yell at Josh about,
Or
let me know.
or-
I've got enough ammo, I think, but
a better
I'm
thing
already happy to
is
add.
that now that we talked about Not Done Yet Media, that's the page you're viewing this on. Please subscribe to that. I would really appreciate it. You can like
but
this
more
video,
importantly, comment
and you
the
can
things
comment
that you
and
want me to
with
yell
questions,
at
not
Josh
things
about.
to yell at me per se.
No, things
but
to yell at him
if you have
about.
questions about, okay, so I watched episode 2 and I had a question about this. It's not like we won't see those. We'll
I
gladly
think
talk
you and
about it.
I both are open books. I think we can
Yeah.
honestly say that. So you can ask us anything and we'll answer honestly.
Very true. So thank you for watching this. Clearly, Jack is done,
We're going to
Uh,
feed a hungry baby.
and episode 3 is done as well. Cheers.
Cheers.
Love you, babe.
Love you.
And tune in next time because we are not done yet.